Hey there, how are you today? My name is Dana Damara, and I am here because it is just about a new moon in Aquarius. So, this is when I come up with a forecast or an outlook on uh, how I believe or what I believe to be true with this new moon. And I have to tell you that this new moon is pretty powerful. Um, I know those of you who have been listening to this for a while, you hear me say that a lot. But I have to say, this new moon in Aquarius is, I believe, something that we have all been waiting for. And so, as we know, or maybe you didn't know this, so I will share this information with you. Every time we have a new moon, we hit a new lunar cycle. So, when we look at the stars and the planets, every time there's a new moon during a calendar year, it's this time to reset. If we were to look up in the sky, um, a new moon, we know it's a new moon because we can't see the moon. And the new moon is most potent a couple days before, a couple days after. Okay, so it's this time when we can go inward and we, kind of make our new moon wishes, whatever you want to call it, intentions. And for me, it's been a guiding light. It's been like, okay, what do I want to do? Not this year, but this lunar cycle. I've never been one for New Year's Eve resolutions or New Year's resolutions, because I find that that's such a large span of time, right? So we take it into little bite-sized chunks. Every new moon, we get to start again. And the reason why I said calendar year is because in a calendar year, from January to January, we have 13 moons. So if you ever hear that phrase, 13 moons, that's why. It's because there's not 31 or 30 days in between. There's 28 days. So we have 13 moons every year. And this new moon is in Aquarius. And if you've been paying attention at all, you have heard all about last year how we experienced all this action in Capricorn. And now we're moving into the Aquarian age. Well, depending upon the astrologists, they'll tell you that we've been in the Aquarian age or we're just moving into it. Don't get hung up on that. This is what I will tell you though. We just had a ton of action in Capricorn all of 2020, and actually even back all the way back into like 2017, 18, 19. So we've been dealing with this energy that is super earthy and grounded and about, one step at a time and really being disciplined and commitment and all of that. And last year we had a ton of aspects in Capricorn that were challenging. And we felt that individually, and we also felt it globally. If you want to hear any of that, you can go back and listen to the other astrocasts. Now we're moving into Aquarius, and Aquarius is about air. Aquarius is all about the electromagnetic waves. The symbol is a wave. So we have this energy going from earth to air, which means anything, just an overarching thought process, anything that has been, that you're grasping onto, that you feel you need to have to move forward, is going to get heavy in the Aquarian age. It's going to get heavy. It's going to feel like this big, heavy backpack filled with rocks. And again, I've been talking about this for probably 2 years of like, just keep shedding. And I feel like that's really part of the reason we're here anyways, especially when we get on this path of spiritual awakening. We learn that really on subtle levels that we don't need a whole lot, right? And Aquarius is air, Aquarius is breath. So we're moving into this new moon Aquarius that is all about Aquarian principles. Now, when we talk about the new moon, we can't just talk about the sign that it's in. It's in Aquarius, yes. So that means humanitarian, that means bigger picture, that means altruistic, innovative ideas. That means moving at a quicker pace. You're not moving like the goat going up the mountain. You're moving like the airwaves. You're moving quicker. Everything is quick. And you can see that in just the fact that, hi, we're connecting online. It's so fast, it's quick, instantaneous, right? So it's very obvious when we look out into the world that we're moving into this deep Aquarian connection. okay? But we also, with any kind of aspects, any kind of astrological influence, we also have to look at the other planets that are in that sign, or that are affecting the moon. And that's just one bit. You can also look at the houses, and the houses will tell you where to put your focus and all of that. But I want to focus on the fact that we have 6 planets sitting with the sun and the moon. So a total of 6, which includes the sun and the moon, in the sign of Aquarius, which is like, what? What? And it reminds me of when we were back in January of 2020, and we had that full moon lunar eclipse, and then we had like all these big plane, these almost all the big same plane planets in the sign of Capricorn, which created this dense, heavy feeling. Now we have all these planets that are like, it's so exciting. I'm going to show you the chart in a second, that are in this air sign of Aquarius. So smile, hurting cheeks, because it's actually beautiful. And I want to address something before I get too far into this and show you the screen. If you're feeling, I've been talking to people today already, and clients and students and friends, and they're like, if this energy is supposed to be so great, why am I feeling so angry or tired or sad or whatever, right? On the lower vibe scale. This is why. Oh, because everything is trying to clear. Everything. We're trying to energetically, spiritually, we're trying to clear our vessel so we can become light. And the universe is going to test you on your ability to see, is that what I'm doing? Or am I falling into the same darn patterns? Because you don't want to fall into the same patterns. And if you do, hey, catch yourself and go, whoa, I'm moving into air. That's right. I don't really want to carry that heavy thing anymore, because that heavy thing, while it worked for me 2 years ago or whatever, it's not working for me now. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. All right. So I'm going to show you my screen so that it, I just like to share my screen with you, and I'll kind of flop back and forth. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, make sure I point it to the right thing. I say that joke every time, and I don't know, it's funny to me. It might not be funny to you. So now I have to put on my glasses so I can see. Oh, so beautiful. Okay, so you see this spot right here, all these planets. So we have the sun, we have the moon, we have Mercury, we have Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn, all in Aquarius. Most of them are in the 10th house. Okay, so we've got this coagulation of planets, and these red lines here basically show me, the astrologist, the different aspects. And so all these planets are making aspects to Mars, and they're also making aspects to Uranus. So what does that mean to you? I'm going to tell you. First of all, here's the sun and the moon, right? So this is a new moon. That's how I know it's a new moon. They're at the same degree. Then we've got Mercury, which is in retrograde. Only, let me just check. Yes, only planet in retrograde is Mercury. It's in retrograde until February 20th. It stays in its shadow for a couple of weeks or 10 days or something. So not like it's not important. It is important, because when Mercury goes into retrograde, communication slows down. Mercury is the lower mind. So your day-to-day activities start to maybe take on like a sense of, what's the word? Like mundaneness, you know? And it's purposeful, because it wants you to, the energy wants you to look at what you're doing and ask yourself, is this what I want to be doing anymore? Because what you did in this earth sign here of Capricorn might get heavy, right? So we're just being asked to slow down. And before you send that email, before you engage in something that isn't really your highest good, we ask for direction and a pause, right? Now, Mercury is also sitting here right next to, I just want to see 16 degrees. Yes, so it's sitting right here next to Venus at 12 degrees and Jupiter at 12. So Jupiter and Venus are conjunct each other, and I'm going to explain that to you too. And then you have Saturn here. So you have all these planets. The only one that's missing from this party from this soiree is Pluto, and Pluto's probably feeling left out, but he moves slow and he's stuck in Capricorn still. He'll be there till 2024, so don't expect him to join the party anytime soon. But those three planets, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, were all together in Capricorn for a very long time, and now the other two have moved away. So the biggest thing I want to say is that with Mercury sitting there, we're really being asked to look at kind of how we do things and how we function and how we communicate. And remember something, and I teach this in yoga, but I think it's something for us to all remember. Communication isn't just about how we're speaking. It's not about us sending emails and texts and engaging on social media. It's about how we're listening, what we listen, how we assimilate the information that we're getting. So we're asking, the universe is asking us to assimilate things a little bit differently, and it's going to slow things down and trip you up until you do. Okay. And you know, the other thing with Aquarius is that it's about knowledge. So Aquarius is about, you know, old knowledge, strong knowledge, wisdom. And if we go too fast or we fall into patterns of the mind, then we will miss that wisdom or that knowledge that we're trying to lock in to or change into or transform from. You know, just like, you know, air moves super fast and water kind of flows, this Aquarian age is really about flowing, whether it's air blowing something away out of your way, or water kind of whooshing it away. So we're moving away from things being hidden or things underneath the surface. So wind, water will move things from the surface. It's not like we're planting a bunch of seeds in a grounding way of being. We're actually moving the dry brush. That's what I was thinking of. Moving the dry brush. It's like whew, everything's, so truth will be revealed. Ways that we've been doing things different. And we can see that on a global level. And if you're not seeing that on a global level, just look at how all these large corporations have now changed the way that they're doing things. Look at how school systems, judicial systems, healthcare systems, political systems are all shifting. And truth is being revealed on as to how these systems will no longer work in an Aquarian age. They just won't. Especially if you think about it real simply, think about it this way. We received more information 100 years ago, right? 100 years ago, the amount we would receive in our lifetime, that's what we're receiving in a day, probably in 8 hours, probably now in an 8-hour workday, right? So two things with that. One is that we're not made for that. We're not made to assimilate that much information. And not only that, what worked then isn't going to work now. So it's not that anything that we went through was bad or, you know, wrong or terrible. It was just, we're moving into a lighter way of being. So things have to shift. And that's really where we're going to. And when we can see, say, for example, 100 years ago, it would take a telegram to get you information, right? Now you can pick up this phone and you can have something at your fingertips for as quickly as you can type and ask Google or whatever other search engine you use. You can also find out information quickly. So information comes to us so fast. And we are being asked to know our truth in those quick moments of time. So that means, I need to stop my share for a second. So that means what you want to do with this new moon is hone in on this vessel, your body. You want to hone in on, where am I seated? Where's my seat? Where am I getting my information from? And I'm not talking about online on your phone. I'm talking about from divine, from source, from God. How in tune are you with your intuition? How in tune are you with the signs that come through for you? Are you not paying attention? Because if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss something really epic. And let me tell you where those signs are. Nature, nature, nature. Physical exercise, physical exercise, physical exercise. Mental meditation, forgiveness, heart opening, like anything you can do. We've been asked to purge this body, and now we are. Anything you can do to just let all of that go. So as you move into this new age of Aquarius, you are like, you have this clean vessel, okay? And don't think you have to be perfect, because it's like I always say in yoga, there's no such thing as yoga perfect, it's a yoga practice. So you're here to practice, that's all. Okay, so 6 planets in Aquarius. We have Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn, along with the Sun and Moon. So one thing I want to say is that this is uncharted territory to have this many planets in Aquarius at one time. So we're connecting to, like I said earlier, that idea of humanitarianism. We're connecting to the higher mind. Aquarius is the higher mind. We're connecting to futuristic, innovative ideas. We're connecting to how you can be of service in this new world. Like, how can I change my business, my way of being, my whatever, to be of service, not to meet the bottom line, not to, you know, start something new that is a egocentric, it has an egocentric base to it. How do I serve others? How can I use my God-given talents, gifts, skills, ability to serve others? And that's really the energy we're moving into. And not only that, but who can I collaborate with in order to make that happen? Because this isn't about a dog eat dog or rising to the top of the ladder. This isn't a linear equation of, well, I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to be VP, then I'm going to be president, then I'm going to be this. Is none of that. This is about, let me drop into my body, this vessel, this well of so much information and gifts, and what is my unique gift? And how can I dial that in so deeply that I attract all of the players that have that same gift, so that we can all work together and support each other. So it's a really beautiful time. It's just, we're in this little like adjustment phase. It's like we're still in the old a little, we're moving to the new, and we're going to be there for a little while. So don't fret, it's okay, you know. So one thing I want to say is, you know, Mercury, with Mercury in Aquarius, this is the questions it's asking. It's asking, what role do I want to play, and how can I use my day-to-day communication in creating that more altruistic way of being? Okay, that's Mercury. Venus now, Venus is about love and abundance and beauty and connection, and really seeing all of us as one. And Jupiter is about expansion, right? So Jupiter is taking those ideas and expanding them. And to have Venus and Jupiter, here they are right here, they're conjunct each other, so they're sitting right next to each other. To have them together, and I mean, we might as well put Mercury in the mix, because Mercury is only 2 degrees away. That's a triple conjunction between Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter. You're talking about affection, you're talking about intimacy, you're talking about love, you're talking about connection, you're talking about relationships, you're talking about abundance and beauty, and this idea of expanding all the love, all the finances, all the awareness, just because you said, hey, I want to be of service, right? So we're taking these energies with this new moon, and I almost, every time I think about it or meditate on it, I visualize like this magic wand of like, you know, okay, what do we want to create now? And I didn't feel that in 2020. I don't know about you, but I felt more in 2020 like we were dealing with the densities of the earth, and really having to look at truth of what we have been doing to this planet, to each other, to our communities, and really how we were functioning in a way that was not altruistic at all. It was very much about greed and egocentric. And you know, all of us were doing it in one way or another. So, you know, just let go of the, oh, well, I wasn't doing that, because you were somewhere. We all were. And if you think that you weren't, dig just a little bit deeper, because if you can dig a little bit deeper and go, ah, there it is, you can let it go. And that's what you want. You know, maybe you did. I know for me, 2020, I did so much work. It's like, I think I did more work in 2020 on myself than I have done my whole life. And it takes a big, swift turn to the heart to be able to say, I choose joy, and I choose love, and I choose connection. And sometimes when we choose that, I choose love, I choose joy, I choose connection, what happens is all the other things that aren't that come bubbling up to the top. And then we have to make that choice of like, wow, what hand did I have in that situation? Because remember this, if we point the finger out and go, well, it's because of this person running the country, or it's this environment, or it's my neighbor, or it's this teacher, or this whatever, you're missing the point. So Aquarius is altruistic. Aquarius is oneness. Aquarius is this invocation to oneness. And so taking these moments to just take this swift turn into the heart during this new moon and just be like, oh, I love this, and I'm so grateful for this, and oh, that lesson that was so hard. Okay, yes, I love that lesson. And something I want to say, I was working with a client this morning on this. She said to me, but I'm having such a hard time with this individual. I can't feel like I can love this individual. Okay, think about what that lesson was, that pearl was that came out of that lesson from that person or with that person, and just be grateful for that. And just almost like beam like light to the soul that showed up to give that lesson to you. You don't have to say, I love that person. You can say, God, I love that lesson. And I'm just going to say thank you. And I'm just going to beam some light to you. I know it sounds silly, but it works. Trust me. I'm going to share my screen because I want to share just a couple more things with you. Okay, so we have all of these planets sitting here. So we have this triple conjunction that is truly creating this amazing energy of love. It's like a swirl of love and connection and intimacy. So don't miss it. Okay, don't get hung up in Mercury retrograde and all that stuff. Just stay in the energy vibe of love. And if you're having a hard time, I was having a hard time this morning. I went for a walk. I was like, okay, I need to go and take pictures of flowers and the beach, and because I was feeling angsty. Get out into nature, okay, and just like soothe your soul with Mother Nature. And then Mercury conjunct Venus, so that really puts a highlight on your negotiations, your creativity, your ability to you know, maybe there was this idea that you had months ago. With Venus and Jupiter sitting there, it's going to almost like expand, almost like open those spaces of your mind where you're stuck, and something will come through. So again, don't miss it. Be present, meditate, journal, color, like whatever triggers that right side brain. Okay. And I'll just give you an idea for some breath work to trigger the right side brain. Just breathe in through your left nostril. So if you breathe in through just your left, and then out through your right, and through your left, and out through your right, you're triggering the right side brain. So if you just did that breath work for like 5 minutes a day or whatever, 5 hours, you'll trigger that idea of creativity. I want to show you one more thing. I could talk here all day. This stuff makes me so excited. So I want to show you this other, two other aspects that are happening. So see this planet here, this is Neptune. And Neptune is sextiling Mars. Now Mars is the initiator. Okay, Mars is like, I have this great idea. Give me the ball. Let me run with it. You know, Mars is like the initiator. Mars is like, come on, let's go. And so with Mars sextile to Neptune, it really is about romantic, like sexual, sensual energy. So if you feel that, follow that. You know, now be safe, of course, but feel that, feel into that for yourself, even if there's no prospects of that on the horizon for you. Okay, do that for yourself, like romance yourself. Do something that connects you deeper to those feelings of sensuality and romance and love. Like truly feel that sense, because this energy wants to just like plunge you right into it. Okay. And then the other one is Saturn. That was a very Michigan accident. Saturn right here is squaring Uranus. So Saturn, God, Saturn is just, he's the Lord of karma. He's the Lord of time. He's restrictions and structures. And, you know, he wants to make sure that you are paying your karma and paying your dues before you move forward and, you know, on your path. And, you know, Saturn's the one that's like, hey, you forgot about this. So Saturn squaring Uranus is really about, and Uranus is the opposite. Uranus is breakthroughs and unexpected change and breakdowns and changing the way we do things. And so on this new moon, Saturn is squaring Uranus. And so it can bring changes that you expected, or changes that you want, or maybe changes that you don't want. And so what I've come to practice is this idea of a parigraha. That's what we call it in yoga, parigraha, which is letting go, and trying to have a sense of equanimity of how things show up. So you're not too attached to like, wow, this feels amazing. This is so perfect. This is exactly what I want. And you also don't want to be attached to, well, this sucks. This isn't anything I thought it was going to be. You stay in the middle of equanimity and try to have no attachment to an outcome, and just be patient. And remember this, I'm going to take myself off here. Remember this, we have a pea-sized brain. It's like super small in comparison to the world. So we know nothing. And the universe is this vast array of seeing this massively big picture. And we can't possibly know everything. So with Saturn squaring Uranus, the whole thing is to be open-minded, flexible, patient, be in prayer, so that when and if something happens that you're not super excited about, you can take a breath and go, okay, I'm not really understanding this, but I want to get out of my limiting beliefs in my mind, and I would love to know the bigger picture, you know, because we're going to get little bits and pieces of that for a while now, because we're shifting. Remember, we're going from Capricornian to Aquarius, which means we're going to be shifting for a while. So I want you to be in a place of acceptance and engaging where you feel is most supportive of you. One thing I want to say about this new moon is, anything that doesn't feel right, don't do it anymore. Don't make an excuse. Don't feel like you have to answer to somebody. You're a grown man or woman. Do something because it makes you feel good. Don't get stuck in old ways of being. It's not going to serve you. It never has, but it really won't now, because we're moving away from that density. One more aspect I want to share with you. And I like to show it to you because it's kind of fun. So this is Chiron here. And again, I have to put my glasses on because it's just easier for me to see. So Chiron right here is actually, there's no line to it, but Chiron is sextiling Saturn. And Chiron is the sacred warrior, the sacred healer. So Chiron is the great teacher and uh, of love, and Saturn is the great teacher of responsibility. So, uh, you know, again, it goes back to the sense of acceptance, of tolerance, of surrendering, of accepting your own personal truth of whatever hand you had in any kind of chaos or path or whatever in your past. And you're being asked to change that part of your life and create a space for healing and for love and for vulnerability. And Saturn will help you create that sense of openness, that will lead you deeper into your heart. But sometimes when you walk with Saturn, it's an uncomfortable walk because it's like through your truth, and the only thing I can say to that is that, with Chiron, Saturn is probably a little gentler. Like Saturn with Mars might be like, hey, but Saturn with Chiron is like, okay, I know you want to be here for love. Okay, I get it. All right, let's walk together. Let's create some change, right? So just know that it might be a good time to kind of look back at 2020 and look at maybe some instances where maybe some of your bigger lessons were, or maybe there was even one big event that happened, or maybe these little things that happened. Just look at them, and ask, what was the lesson there for me? Look beyond the person or the instance or the experience, and just like go down with the center of the heart and go, what was the lesson? What was I meant to learn in that moment? And then give deep gratitude for whatever that was. And then know that Saturn's helping you to heal through love with Chiron. So it's a beautiful, beautiful new moon. It's not without its, bits and pieces of um, learning or growth. But remember that some of our deepest lessons of growth are the ones that challenge us the most, right? And 2020 was a big challenge for a lot of people. And some of us are still learning and growing and trying to figure out a new path, right? And maybe that's not you, but someone is in that. So have that sense of compassion for the greater good, okay? Set your new moon intentions, make it good ones. Reach out to me if you would like your chart read. I absolutely love reading people's charts, just because it gives you this blueprint of like where you are in relation to what's going on in the world. I'll never tell you what to do. I'll never say, well, this is what you should do, because it's divine will. With your chart, you have your blueprint, you have your karma, you have your dharma, and you have divine will. So I just kind of lay it out and then go, what do you think? So if you want to get a hold of me, danadamara.com, or you can find me on Instagram at danadamara evolution. I will do a little bit of plug for my 21-day sadhana that's coming up. Normally I don't do that, but I will tell you it closes on February 10th, and it actually, we open it, it's a 21-day program. We open it on February 11th on the new moon. So I'd love to see you there. We're all going to start on the same day. It's going to be absolutely beautiful and gorgeous and lovely. So if you have any questions, reach out. In the meantime, have an incredible new moon, and I will see you on the full moon. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.